So, I know what you guys are thinking. It's 2014, and I still haven't made one of my annual map making episodes. What is going on? Well, don't you fret, because here it is. Yep, so we are back, guys. We are back, and we are keeping the series regular, at least once a year. I'm doing a good job. You can't complain about that. Mm-mm. So this is going to be my final push with this project. I'm going to try to record a few episodes in a row here so that I don't fall into the habit of ignoring this this project, because I usually have it on a low priority and other stuff comes first. Um, but I really want to get it done. And I finally figured out exactly how I want to build the game and how to do it. So today's episode's pretty important actually to the series because I'm going to be putting stuff where it needs to go, organizing things. We're going to be creating the third element to our game here. And also I want to teach you guys how my game works. I'm going to be finally revealing how it's going to be played and all that cool stuff, which I've been fairly secretive about, just in case I started working on this and then didn't finish it right away. I didn't want somebody just taking my idea and doing it and then showing me it, because then it's no fun for me. I don't get I would lose interest right away in doing it myself then. And thankfully, I didn't spill the beans right away because I have put the series on hold way too many times. And also, it's kind of tough to explain how my game works without having everything in place. I've tried telling a few people how or what I'm doing here, and I don't know. I don't think I was able to explain it too well without visual things. So the first thing we got to do here is get a slice of vanilla terrain and put it into my map at 0, 0, which is where my spawning platform is actually. So I need to move that. We're going to get a 1500 by 1500 chunk of terrain. And much like UHC, how we don't play on the same map every time, we're not going to be playing my game here on the same map every time either. We want a new piece of vanilla terrain, hopefully. Yeah, because that's a big part of the playfield. People are going to be playing on that terrain and also on the arena. And I'll explain how that works in just a bit here, but let's get that going. So I'm going to be using a program called Admits to look for a slice of terrain that doesn't have much water in it, and that I think will work out well. Also, I've come up with the name for my game, so it's called Bane. Bane. When you pick a name, you want something that's unique. You want it as short as possible. You want it to be catchy, easy to spell, those kinds of things, and I think it does a good job at it. And you want it to be descriptive of your game too, which it kind of is for one of my rules. And I searched on Google. I didn't find any other Minecraft game using that name, so I think it's going to be good. Bane. Let's play some Bane. All right. So let's go to the admits program, and I'll show you how that works. All right, everyone. So this is the admits program. It's a very, very awesome program. I like it a lot. With it, you get this great overview of your seed. You can see the biomes. Like if you look at the top right here, it shows what the biome is that the cursor is hovering over, and it's all color coded, which is very good. You can see the structures on the map, like where villages are. You have villagers where your spawn point is a home, and you can see strongholds, and you can very easily see where the rivers and oceans and all that fun stuff is. So with this, I'm going to hopefully find a good seed. We're looking for 1500 by 1500 area. So we're going to randomize through a few seeds here. Ooh. So this is good because there's not a lot of water in this one. What I would like, since we're doing 1500 by 1500, that's like the negative 750s to positive 750s. So if you look at the coordinates here, that's like from, let's see, let's find it. Go up a bit more. So it's kind of like from here all the way down to about here is the slice of terrain we're looking for. Now, in each of the four corners of this square we're making, there's going to be a spawn point for each of the teams, right? So at those spawn points, we definitely don't want any water. That's key. So this is a good map. My only complaint about this one is there's not a lot of variation with the biomes. Like there's forests, there's extreme hills, there's no like snow, there's no deserts, there's none of that. So I might look for a better one here, just because I'm being picky. But that was nice because there was no oceans. Like this, for example, this looks a bit better. There might be too much desert. The other thing is I don't want to spawn one team in a desert, really, with no trees around, because that would be a big disadvantage to them. So I have to kind of check. This one's not too bad, actually. Yeah, I like this one. You got some taiga in it, swamplands. There might be a bit too much desert, more than I would like. But overall, it's pretty good. So I'm going to write this seed down and keep it in mind. I'm going to keep looking for maybe a better one, though. And then I'm going to generate this in the world, and I'm going to copy paste it with MC Edit into my map at 0, 0, and we'll take it from there. Whew. Okay, guys. So I'm back. This is now several hours later, actually. I've been very busy with preparing the nice slice or nice chunk of vanilla terrain to put into my void world here. I actually ended up creating a new void world instead of moving everything around, and I just copy pasted stuff into here. It worked out a little bit easier, actually. So this is what we created, and I did a few other things with it too. You can see I got a bedrock wall going all around the perimeter to keep people inside, and also to kind of show them where the end of the world is. And there are structures in the four corners of the map. These are the spawn points for the teams, and I'll kind of go over how that works in just a second here. So a couple other things. I did find a different seed which has deserts in. It even has a mesa biome. So this terrain looks pretty varied. There's not too much ocean either with this one, so it's good. I don't know if I'm going to actually use this for an official game, but for testing anyway, this is the world we're going to use. And just to help you guys visualize things of what's going on here, maybe we'll teleport to the four corners of our world. So instead of going with 1500 by 1500, I also decided to go with 1000 by 1000. So it's a fair bit smaller. It just seemed like when I was creating this world, it seemed like 1500 by 1500 is going to be too big. And these structures, the spawning areas for the teams, for the four teams, are at the four corners at the 400 by 400 points on the map. So this one's negative 400 and negative 400. Let's go check out the other ones. So let's go TP Etho 400, 128, 400. There's red, green, blue, and yellow. And by the way, the rest of this episode is pretty much going to be a talkie. I want to explain to you guys how the game's going to work and go through with all the things we need to do, and just kind of get the whole thing clear in mind. So this is a green one here, and I've also ran out of time to do things because making all this took quite a bit of time. And I'm considering making my game into a self-extracting MC Edit schematic, which is a little bit complicated. It would take quite a bit of a redstone trickery to do it, but it is possible now. The idea would be I create my game as a schematic, and you can pop it into any random seed you want, and then you go into the world, press a button, and everything gets moved into place where it needs to go. The bedrock walls will get generated on their own, and these structures will be placed on their own, and the world will be generated automatically by moving your player around, and that kind of stuff. So I'm not going to do that though until towards the end of this, if I do it, because I want to make sure this works right the way I have it before I undertake anything complicated like that. and this is the yellow one here. So these structures were a bit tricky to place, a little harder than I expected because not all the terrain is flat, and some of them are like in the side of a mountain and whatnot. But anyway, let's go through the map stage by stage, and I'll explain some of the design points I decided to go with. So let's head over to the spawn platform first of all. Okay. I gotta breathe here, guys. It's gonna be a long explanation because I'm gonna go over how the game works now, and there's a lot to it. So here we go. In the beginning, when you start up the game, people are gonna end up on the spawn platform, right? This is where people choose a couple options with the game, also just somewhere for them to hang out as everybody joins up on the server. And a big change we're making, we're going to have to redo this basically. It was good practice, but I think there's just too many changes with my plan with this thing to keep this current spawn platform. A big change, of course, is I'm no longer supporting up to 8 teams. We're just doing up to 4 teams to simplify things quite a bit. And any combination of those teams is pretty much possible. Like, doesn't have to be all 4 teams. It can be a 1 versus 1. It could be 1 versus 1 versus 1, 1 versus 1 versus 1 versus 1, 2 versus 2, 2 versus 2 versus 2. You know, pretty much any number of players will be able to play this. It might get a little cramped if you start doing like 10 versus 10, but I think it should work pretty flexibly, which is good. So people spawn up here. There's going to be 2 options they can adjust. One of them is the number of rounds required to win. This game, the win condition to my game is winning a certain number of rounds, which are duked out in the arena, which is a big focus we've had in our series so far. And I'm pretty sure the arena was over here, but now I can't see it. Oh, it's over there. It's like, man, that thing is really not loading in. Yeah, so people will fight in this arena with their gear, and the winning team gets a point at the end of it. Alright? And like if you play till 3 wins, once that team gets 3 wins, they win the entire game. My game here may take a couple hours depending on how many rounds people select, but they do have the option to choose how many they want. And also the number of minutes between rounds is another option people will be able to select. So yeah, people spawn here, they work out who's going to be on whose team, they go into the spawning room. However, I set it up in the future. When everybody readies up, the game begins and people get teleported to each of these structures here according to the team. So green team is going to end up at this one, red team will end up at the red one, yellow at yellow, blue at blue, at the 4 corners of the map. And between each of these structures is about 800 blocks. So let's pretend red was on that corner of the map. It's 800 blocks to go from here to there. And like, I'm hoping that's a good distance. I don't know. Testing is where we need to figure that out. But to walk it or to run it, I tried it out to run it like on ground. It's going to take a team at least 4 minutes to go from one end of the map to another. So like 4 minutes there, 4 minutes back. And that timing does matter quite a bit to how the game's going to be played. So yeah, these structures, this is where the team starts at each of their respective one. This is also where a player will spawn if they don't have a bed set in this world here. And also these structures teleport people to that arena. So again, the round time between rounds, like I think the default's going to be 10 minutes, but I'm not sure yet. So every 10 minutes, and people will be warned in chat, like as this time approaches, it's going to be like 5 minutes till battle, 4 minutes till battle, 3 minutes to battle, 2 minutes to battle. Any player from the green team that is in this room, when it's time to battle, they're going to get teleported to the arena to fight the other teams. Any number of players are allowed to teleport or to stay behind. Not everybody has to go. In fact, you can even choose not to have anybody go, but then you instantly lose the arena fight and you you have no chance of getting a point. But you might want to do that. There's a lot of strategy involved to this game, which I'll kind of go over here. Yeah, so the game itself is actually a pretty vanilla Minecraft experience. Like, to get gear in this game, you get it by playing Minecraft. You cut down trees, you go mining for iron, you kill mobs for experience, all that kind of stuff is how you get geared up in this. And there's actually a lot of benefit, I'm suspecting, to setting up farms and like setting up a chicken farm and a cow farm and all that kind of stuff for your team. So most teams, I suspect, will build bases, although they're not required to. And where they build them is entirely up to them and their strategy. One thing to point out, if they build close to this structure, it's going to be easy for the other teams to find them and loot their stuff, because this is a free-for-all game in this world here. Any team can go over to the other team's territory and try to find their stuff and take down their team. And that is that's another strategic element to the game. If you send your whole team off to battle in the arena, and one team decides to leave their guys behind and go raid you while you're off in the arena, they can take all your stuff, and when you come back, you got nothing left. So things can get pretty complicated with this game, I think, and it's going to have some interesting outcomes with the gameplay. So you probably don't want to build right by this thing. But the farther away you build from it, the farther you have to travel back to it to get teleported to the arena. Only the green team can use the green team teleporter, only the red team the red one. So if red team sends a guy over here, he's not going to be able to teleport there from there to the arena. He has to go all the way back home. Yeah. And if people die in this world, people will be able to loot their gear. So if red team just sends one guy over here and he gets killed and he loses a bunch of stuff, then that's going to help out green team. So the way you decide to raid other bases is going to be pretty important that you do it properly. And even things like horses and that are going to be really helpful in this, because travel time, if you want to go raid another base, matters quite a bit. I do plan on having the nether involved with this to some extent, although I haven't entirely figured out how that's going to work. I do want people to be able to get potions. I don't want them to have strength and invisibility potions, though, because I think those are overpowered, and I might just set up something to remove those and ban them, because I think they're not good for combat. So yeah, you'll probably want to set up a base and get equipped. Once you get equipped, you can send people to the teleporter when the round starts, and then people fight it out in the arena. So let's head over there. Yeah, so the whole game is going to have a round timer, and that's going to constantly be announced probably in chat, like 5 minutes to battle, 4 minutes, 3, 2, 1. And any team that has their players on the teleporter, those players will get sent to the arena at each of the 4 team sides. And I'll probably keep people here for at least 10 seconds before I start the game, so that they have time to let the land load over here, and also just so that they can get used to their surroundings before they have to go and fight. So the players will fight it out here, and as people die, it's a one life thing. If you die, you instantly get teleported back to either your teleporter or where your bed is set in that world. People will not be allowed to set their bed spawn in the arena, and I don't want them using ender chests either, so I might just put a ban on that. I don't know if I'll be able to enforce it, though. So yeah, the teams will fight it out. If players die here, they will drop their loot, and other people can pick it up. I might even have some loot hidden on the map in chests, like arrows and that. Maybe even a little bit of iron. I'm not entirely sure yet, though. So if people don't get fully geared in that world, they can get a little bit geared up here, which I think would maybe be cool. But like, if they're harvesting resources here, they're probably going to be pretty vulnerable as they do that. So Teams will fight it out. Last team alive wins the point. Everybody gets sent back to wherever they belong in the world over there. A key component to this game, this was sort of a tough decision, but I think it's going to really improve the way the game is played. I've decided everybody loses their gear here. Like, even the winning team. When they get teleported back there, they'll have no gear on them. And I think that's crucial to this game. That's also why I think Battle Bane is a good name for it. So some people might think that's a dumb idea, but there is actually quite a few good reasons I decided to do it this way. Basically, one thing, it adds a level of skill to the game because teams need to decide what gear they're bringing into battle here, because anything they don't use is going to get wasted, and they should not have brought that. So that's kind of cool. I like that. They also might consider saving up gear until they know they have really powerful stuff, and then choose to come fight here, because they're more likely to win then. If they feel they're under geared, they might choose totally to skip battling here, and they can use that time that people are fighting here, losing stuff, to harvest more stuff in this world, maybe even go raid other people, or do farming, to get better prepared for the next battle that they think they can win. So I think that's a cool dynamic to it. Another thing, like a lot of games, they want to reward players that are winning, right? But that sort of leads to an imbalance. I don't want one team to win the fight here, get all the gear off of people, and then bring it back to their base. And then the next fight, they have all this gear from the previous one that they nab from everybody. And then they become super OP that no team can beat, You may as well just call it the end of the game at that point, right? So everybody kind of gets a fair chance every round, and there's a lot of like resource management in this game, a lot of efficiency, like the best use of players' time. Is it worth sending people here, or are they better collecting more things, or a lot goes into this. Teamwork is going to be huge in this game. And of course, PvP skills are going to matter a lot too, because you might be able to win a fight if you're a good PvP player with less gear than another team, just by playing better. So there's a lot to this game, and I think it's going to turn out pretty good. Now another thing, this arena, I'm most likely going to use the clone command that was recently released to generate it every time, because I don't want, for example, one of the teams coming over to this guy's spawn, dropping a lava bucket, and then next round that team will just instantly die. I don't want anything like that happening. So I think generating a new arena every time is a good idea, and starting fresh every time. So those are a couple of the things. So when one team kills all the other players, they get a point, and everybody gets teleported back without any of their gear. And also, that's when the round time starts up again. So if it's 10 minutes between rounds, it's going to start at 10, 9, 8, until the next one, So round time stops while people are fighting here, is what I'm trying to say. But anyway, that's about it, guys. That's the game in a nutshell. Let me know what you think of the ideas. I am really looking forward to playing it. I really want to play it. I've been wanting to play it for a very long time. Yeah, so what's left to do with this is another thing I kind of want to address. So this area here, this third element of the map is actually pretty much done. That's all I really had to do. I had to get a slice of terrain, get some walls, get the structures down. With regards to the nether, I may just do it like we do UHC, where it's just don't touch it, just have it create, and like there's no real value to people going outside of the map boundaries, and I could just have a ban on it, and not enforce it. I think people will play by the rules. One idea I did have though is maybe putting a portal at 0, 0. That's like where all 4 territories meet, the midpoint of the map, 28, 0. Have a portal here encased in bedrock, up in the sky somewhere. And what that would do, that would make it so a team can't just go into the nether in their territory, travel a few blocks, create another portal in the nether, and then end up at someone else's territory. If they did that, it would take them to the portal in the middle, and they wouldn't be able to leave it, so they would have to go back to their territory. So what that means is, in order to use the nether for travel, they would have to set up a portal in their territory and also have one in the enemy's territory. They could still link up with each other, but they can't like create portals in the enemy territory without going there first or having the enemy do it for them. So I think that would be a good way of dealing with the nether. The thing is, if I copy paste like I did with this in the nether, it's gonna mess up the fortress. Oop, things are burning. It's gonna mess up the fortress spawns and like the blaze spawns and all that. So it would mess up the whole potion idea with the game, and that wouldn't be very good. Yeah, so some other things we need to do. We need to finish up the arena here, get an actual fighting area for people to play on. We got the layout mostly figured out, and I even started doing a bunch of the building, but there is a bit more to do with it, as you can see. We also have that map from 3.2, which I might use. My ambitions are maybe bigger than they should be. I wanted to have arena selection for people, so when they're waiting at their teleporter there, they can vote on what map or what arena they want to go to, and then it would pick it from a selection of different arenas, just so it's not always the same thing. I don't know if I'm gonna do that. Maybe later. That's more of like a fancy addition to the game. Need to redo the spawn platform, like I said. And then just basically a bunch of command block stuff needs to get done. Mostly handling the teleports and the winning conditions and that kind of stuff. It's going to take a bit to do that. And that is the game, guys. That is the game. So, a couple other design things I wanted to talk about too. UHC, I'm going to use it as an example. I really like the build-up that UHC has. Like, some games you play them and it's all fighting. Fight. You die, you instantly respawn with all your gear. I kind of call those cheap thrills games, because it's like you die and there's no consequence to it at all. You just pick up your gear instantly and you're back into fighting and whatever. I don't know. Those games are fun for a while, but I get bored of them pretty quick. UHC is awesome because you got this big build up where you're gearing up and it's all gearing up for this one battle that's usually pretty awesome. The only downside of doing it that way is there's not it's not guaranteed to be a good battle, and sometimes you just end up dying to mobs or something, and it's anticlimactic. So the nice thing about this game, battles are forced, like they're every 10 minutes or whatever people choose to set it at, and so that guarantees some action, but there's also that build up to the game. There's like the whole collecting gear and like the advancement of the tech. Like people, once you get an enchanting table, it's going to be huge. If you get potions, that's huge as well. You build up your farms, they get bigger and bigger. And then there's a sense of loss if another team comes and raids your stuff, or you gear up all super powerful for battle and you lose. There's still going to be that amazing feeling of winning and losing, and even if you lose, you get another chance at winning the next round. So I think the game's gonna turn out okay. I hope. I hope. We'll see. But anyway, that's going to be it for today, guys. Taki episode. We're going to try work at finishing this thing up, and then hopefully we can try it out. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Have yourselves a great day. Bye bye.